Hello, this is Bob Om. We're showcasing the cellular automata mod that I built a while ago. We're just playing with it now. You can see I have cellular automata enabled and worldedit enabled. And we're going to go and we're going to hit play game. Make sure creative mode's enabled. I've already activated fly mode and fast mode and no clip mode, and I've set the time to not change so that it doesn't get dark on us. And what we're going to do this time is we're going to show how to use the automata inactive block, which is in your inventory right here. It's a dark colored block. I've already got it in my inventory. So we're going to place one of these here. And we're going to then switch to our remote control and activate it. We're going to go to 1D. Just to recap what we did on the last video, we were playing with 1D automata. This one is going to grow, we're going to make it grow up into the sky. And we can do X or Z as our calculation or main axis. And we're going to do Rule 90, which draws Sierpinski's triangle. And we're going to make this one go for 100 generations, which means 100 blocks up into the sky because our grow distance is 1. And destructive doesn't matter because it's just going up into the sky. But instead of hitting like last time, we hit single to start a single cell at our current location. We're going to hit activate to activate the block that we have placed. So that's what happens. So with minetest, your draw distance, you have to fly closer to the objects you're looking at for them to draw completely. There are settings for that in the conf file, but I'm not going to mess with those right now. So that's 100 generations, and it stops there. You can see that if you were to keep going, it would just keep making Sierpinski's triangle bigger and bigger. So that's how we start a single block. So just for shits and giggles, we're going to place, this time we're going to place a couple blocks so that you can start your own initial conditions. So this time we're going to grow calculate in the Z axis so that these blocks interact instead of being two separate single cells. We're going to make this go Z, and we're going to hit activate and see what happens. We get Sierpinski's triangle again, with a few differences, but it still works. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work in terms of looking for the pattern that you're looking for. Now, another thing we can do is we can, instead of placing blocks manually, we can use worldedit to mark a position with the pause 1 command for our first position. You can see that that places a marker there. And then we can fly forward. We're going to try to stay in the same row. We'll find out soon. We're going to hit pause 2. Oh, you can see I didn't stay within a single row. I have to move over just ever so slightly. Do that again. There. Now you can see that we're in a single row, facing, once again, you can see here we're facing positive X. And we're going to escape this. I was just looking at which way we're facing. Oops. So that's all correct. And then we're going to fill this region that we've marked with the mix command, which will make a random mixture of air and automata inactive. So you can see we got a random distribution of cells in that row for our starting conditions. Now, if we were to try to activate this, you can see that the activate button is still not there. Well, that's because we, the player, do not own those cells. Those cells were created by worldedit. We have to add one more command that is included with this mod, but you do need the worldedit mod, of course, to use this command. It's called own cells. So you now have these cells and the activate button is there. Now, a command to reset the worldedit region, you say reset, /reset, that clears the region. So now we can activate these cells and see what happens. So you don't get Sierpinski's triangle because it's a random starting conditions. It may be that it eventually starts to make Sierpinski's triangle. It's hard to say. Looks like it is trying to make a big triangle in the middle. But it's not perfect. It's not the way the first one was. So you can experiment with cellular, one-dimensional cellular automata with random starting conditions this way. And there's a larger void forming. It's actually amazing how with random starting conditions you still get this behavior emerging. We'll just watch it grow for a minute. I think I said 100 generations, so we can always go into the Manage tab. That's our most recent one. It's finished now. But if we wanted to add more generations, just like in the last video, we can add another 100 generations if we want, and then double-click the pattern, and it will continue to grow. So that you can see if it eventually does still make Sierpinski's triangle. Which it kind of is, just not a perfect one. You can see that I'm flying around so that it draws everything. If it's too far away from you, it doesn't update. So this is what you got to do. And there, it's finished again. So, oh, it's not finished. No, sorry. Anyways, that's a little bit of how to use worldedit to start a pattern. We can do another one here. I'll show what happens if you do things a little differently. We'll do / pause 1 to set our first position, and then we'll do pause 2. Oh, I want to narrow that up a bit. There we go. Same command. Oops. I accidentally hit C there. Mix air automata inactive. Didn't place very many blocks, but it's random. We're going to own cells so that we can activate them, and we're going to reset the region so we don't have that stuff there. We're going to use our remote control, go to 1D. Now this time we're facing X. So the main axis is side to side in Z, which would be just like what we just did, so that string of blocks are in the Z axis. However, if we tell it to calculate in X, what you're actually doing is starting basically however many blocks are there, each block will start its own pattern. So we're going to say, we're only going to do this for maybe 30 generations. And Rule 90, Sierpinski's triangle is cool, so I'm going to just keep it there. Now we're going to hit activate. So you can see it's not growing in the axis that we strung out the the blocks. It's actually drawing each one of those cells was like starting a single cell, but we did it 6 or 7 times. If you can see, we can now fly through this. It's kind of a way of getting some two-dimensionality out of a 1D automata. You could make a solid string and this would be a solid block, which maybe I should have done, but I used a random starting conditions there. So that is all we're going to do today. I showed you how to own cells with worldedit commands. I showed you how to place blocks. You know, I included 1D automata almost just as a nod to Wolfram's NKS, because they're not super interesting or super useful, but they're pretty cool to look at and watch them grow and study a little bit. You can see next time we'll come back and we'll do some true two-dimensional automata, including possibly Conway's Game of Life, but not limited to. Anyway, this is Babam. See you next time.